Okay, be honest. Do you really think you're a good person? You're probably thinking, well, yeah. I don't cheat, I don't rob people, I help my neighbor. That's nice. But I'm not asking what you do when the world is watching. I'm asking, what would you do if you were absolutely certain no one was watching and no one would ever find out? If there were no eyes on you and no punishment? Think about it for a second. Do you always act perfectly? Let me tell you something. We all think we're the good guy. But science has proven something terrifying. Every single one of us has a switch inside that can turn off our conscience. And that switch can be flipped by an ordinary situation. Come with me and look at a few famous experiments. You'll see yourself in them. And you might not like what you see. Imagine this. You volunteer for a psychology study. They sit you at a machine with a shock generator. They tell you, the other volunteer in the next room is a learner. For every mistake he makes, you give him an electric shock and increase the voltage. The learner starts making mistakes. You press the button. He yells from behind the wall. That hurts. Stop. You turn to the scientist. He just nods calmly. Don't worry, keep going. The experiment requires it. What do? Do you stop because you hear pain? Or do you obey the smart guy in the lab coat? This experiment really happened. It's called the Milgram experiment. And guess how many ordinary people like mothers, accountants, and students went all the way to the end, giving what they believed were lethal shocks? 2/3. 65 out of 100 people. Not because they were evil, but because an authority figure told them to. Someone who seemed like they knew better. When you get an order, it's easier to obey than to think. Sound familiar? A professor named Philip Zimbardo wanted to know more. He took a bunch of perfectly normal guys, college students. He randomly split them into prisoners and guards. He gave the guards uniforms, batons, and mirrored sunglasses. He had the prisoners shaved, dressed in smocks, and locked them in a fake prison set up in a university basement. It was supposed to last 2 weeks. It ended after 6 days. What happened? The guys in uniforms transformed within hours. They started humiliating the prisoners, forcing them to do push-ups, locking them in solitary confinement. They enjoyed it. And these were the same guys who went for beers a week before. All it took was power and the feeling that there would be no consequences. You don't have to be a born monster. You just need a role that makes you feel like you can do anything. And suddenly, anything includes tormenting other people. This was the infamous Stanford prison experiment. So how does it happen? How do we turn into obedient sheep or cruel guards so easily? 3 simple psychological tricks do the work. 1. It's not my fault, I was told to do it. We all know this one. At work, in school, from our parents. We shift the responsibility to the person in charge. And we immediately feel better. 2. No one will see me. When you're in a crowd, behind an anonymous online profile, or wearing a mask, suddenly you can write a horrible insult or steal something. Because you're not you're just part of something bigger. Scientists call this de-individuation. 3. He deserves it, he's an idiot. The most important step. We stop seeing the other person as fully human. We start calling them names, we see them as just a problem. And if they're not a person, you don't have to treat them humanely. This is how soldiers, and how you, when you rage at the driver in front of you, justify your behavior. This is dehumanization. These aren't magic spells. They're mental shortcuts. And in the wrong situation, they're a recipe for becoming the monster you never thought you could be. You might think, okay, but that's just in crazy experiments and prisons. Not in my normal life. But that's where you're wrong. These mechanisms are at work every single day in much smaller ways. Think about your office. Have you ever gone along with a dumb decision because the boss suggested it and no one wanted to speak up? That's obedience and diffused responsibility. If everyone agrees, it can't be that bad. Think about the internet. Why is online bullying so vicious? Because behind a screen name, people feel anonymous. The no one will see me trick is in full effect. Think about politics or social media. How quickly do people start calling those who disagree with them stupid, evil, or vermin? That's dehumanization. It's the first step to justifying hatred. The road to becoming a monster isn't one giant leap. It's 1,000 tiny steps of silent obedience, small cruelties you explain away, and slowly letting yourself believe that those people are less than you. The experiments just show us where that road ends if we don't watch our step. Alright, this all sounds a bit dark. But here's the incredible, empowering flip side. If we know how the monster-making machine works, we can choose not to feed it. We don't have to be puppets. This is your simple, everyday manual to stay on the good side of that line. When given an order, ask why. Don't just say, okay. One simple question: can you help me understand why it needs to be done this way? Forces you to think. It makes you an active participant, not just a follower. Own your actions. Even behind an anonymous profile, it's still you typing. Even if your boss tells you to do it, your hands are the ones doing the final deed. Don't shift all the blame. Say to yourself, I am choosing to do this. That ownership is a powerful break. Make it a habit to see the person, especially in the person who annoys you. The moment you start thinking of them as a jerk or an idiot, you're dimming your empathy. Try to remember, they have a bad day, they have fears, they're someone's child. It's harder to be cruel to a person than to a label. Have a personal moral anchor. Decide on a few simple rules before you're in a tough spot. Something like, I will never publicly humiliate someone. Or, I will always question an order that causes harm. When the situation gets messy, hold on to that rule. Don't get swept away by the crowd or the authority. You are not just a product of your situation. You are also the one holding the strings. Every single day, in small moments, you are choosing whether to obey or to think for yourself. So, next time, will you just listen? Or will you think?